yes. Good evening, all my South Orange Maplewood listeners, and all those other listeners in the towns of Millburn, Livingston, Irvington, West Orange, East Orange, Orange, and Newark. Welcome to In the Village With Anselm on the South Orange Maplewood Online Radio Experience, and live on the World Wide Web at somore.org. And the only radio show covering all your news, opinion, politics, talk, and sports happening in the South Orange Maplewood communities. You can listen to us every Monday through Friday from 8 to 9:30 p.m. That's Monday through Friday from 8 to 9:30 p.m. And reach us at 973-327-3626. That's 973-327-3626 to participate in the discussion. We have an interesting program lined up for you this evening, and I look forward to your participation in the discussion. Now tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to discuss a subject. When I say discuss, there is going to be a few audio tapes that's going to play tonight. And hold on to your seats, ladies and gentlemen. And the subject is going to be, does race still matter? And the young man who's going to explain that is a gentleman by the name of Tim Wise. I can tell you right now, if you don't know of Tim Wise, please Google Tim Wise, and you're going to get to know this gentleman much better. And tonight, we're going to be listening to a few of his presentations called Does Race Still Matter? And we have to ask that question in our communities of South Orange and Maplewood when we look at our school system. Does race still matter in the levels, in our AP classes, in our honors classes, in how realtors show people residence or housing in South Orange and Maplewood? So the question tonight is, does race still matter? And many of us may say, well, race does not matter anymore. Well, I'm going to get Tim Wise, who's an expert, to tell you whether he believes race still matters or not. So after we get into the news and we get into the sports and we got into the Township of South Orange Village and the Maplewood Township Committee, we're going to get into that as well. So let's go directly to the Village Green of South Orange and Maplewood. The Village Green of, I say South Orange and Maplewood, but actually they call it the Village Green of Maplewood and South Orange. Tonight's concert in the park moved to SOPAC. The July 2nd free concert in the park at Flood Hills in South Orange have been moved indoors to the South Orange Performing Arts Center due to weather forecast for severe storm. The concert, which starts at 7:30 p.m., features Dub Proof, a groove-oriented band from Asbury Park, New Jersey. According to the South Orange Village Center Alliance website, the group is known for its freewheeling shows of roots reggae, funky dub, and classic reggae covers. Dub Proof's music incorporates the social conscience of Bob Marley, the irresistible danceability of George Clinton funk, and deep grooves and fresh originality of the 70s dub reggae. Free concerts in the park are presented by the Village of South Orange, the Beard, and the South Orange Performing Arts Center. So if you are late, go straight to SOPAC, where you can listen to Dub Proof. District outlines outreach plan for superintendent hiring. The South Orange Maplewood Board of Education has begun holding and scheduling focus group and meetings between various stakeholders groups and the firm running the search process for the new superintendent of school. Superintendent Brian Osborne last day was June the 30th. Osborne is leaving the district for a new position as superintendent of schools in New Rochelle. Osborne will be consulting on an as-need basis only through July. The board approved a consulting contract for Osborne at its June meeting. The contract is on a per diem basis with no minimum number of days. Acting Superintendent Jim Memoli will fill in until an interim superintendent is named no later than September the 1st. The district have pledged to involve parents and teachers in the selection process for a new superintendent. The hiring process takes place at a time of turnover in the district, including the introduction of a new director of curriculum, the resignation of Maplewood Middle School principal, the search for a new Jefferson School principal, and an election for 3 new Board of Education members. Board of Education President Beth Doherty reports that focus group with Dr. Leroy Nunry of Harvard, Young, and Atea were held for members of the South Orange Maplewood Education Association members last week and will be held again for Somea in September. Somea is the local teachers union. As reported previously, a meeting for the Special Education Committee is planned for July the 10th from 8 to 9 p.m. at 525 Academy Street. Doherty said the administrators met with the search consultant on July 1st. The President Council had been invited to meet with the consultant on July 10th from 7 to 8 p.m. And focus groups and open forums will be scheduled all day on Saturday, September the 13th. Details will follow later this month. A number of evening sessions will also be held in September, as well as a focus group for Columbia High School students to provide input. I got to be honest, this is all fine and well, but to me, this is just a bunch of PR by the South Orange Maplewood School District. The consultant who is hired to make the decision is going to make their decision, and they're not going to take, they may take some of the ideas that are coming from the community into fact, but really and truly, I think it's just PR. Where's Waldo? Here in Maplewood, of course. The best spectacled dude with a fuzzy hat is hiding in Maplewood again, and it's up to you to find him. Words Bookstore is once again hosting the month-long celebration of Waldo and small businesses with its Find Waldo contest in Maplewood. First, pick up your Find Waldo passport at Words Bookstore, then keep your eyes open whenever you spot the small clipboard Waldo cutout hiding in 26 local shops and restaurants short of town. Get your passport stamped or signed. Once you have collected all 10 different stamps or signatures, bring them to Words to get your iPhone Waldo button and a $1 off coupon. This is limited to the first 100 people to bring in passport. Spot Waldo at 20 stores and get stamped or signed and be entered in a grand prize drawing for a 6-volume deluxe set of Waldo books and other prizes. The prizes will be awarded at a celebration at Words on Thursday, July the 24th at 4 p.m. Happy hunting. South Orange moves ahead with Village Hall RFP assures preservation. At its June meeting, the South Orange Board of Trustees decided to move forward with a request for proposal or RFP for the sale of Village Hall. The RFP, however, will stipulate that the historic building exterior be preserved and restored. Village President Alex Torpy opened the discussion of the RFP by asking Township Administrator Barry Lewis what restrictions the village will place on the sale and if those restrictions will hold. Lewis said that the RFP have been crafted with mandatory requirements for restoration in compliance with the historic preservation easement that the village itself have agreed to in its reservation of Village Hall. The easement and attached standard will preclude demolition and require the buyer to renovate the building. It is crafted to ensure it remains and is restored, Lewis said. The attached parking lot is not being offered as a separate opportunity, he added. It must be a coordinated development. And let's go over to the alternative press to see what's going on for the rest of the week in South Orange and Maplewood. Well, not much, ladies and gentlemen. Other than Friday, July the 4th, Independence Day, the government offices, public library, and post office will be closed. South Orange moves to evict Jersey Animal Coalition from managing shelter. Village administrators had ended the lease agreement with the Jersey Animal Coalition and served the animal center management an eviction notice. What will happen with the animals still in the shelter once the JAC suspends operation was not immediately clear. A letter informing Ruth Palmetta, president of the JAC Executive Board, and attorney William Stratcher of the eviction was sent June 27 in response to the shelter's failure to produce financial and personal records. The JAC has until July 9 to vacate the facility on Walton Avenue. In absence of such curing of the stated defaults, you are hereby notified that the Township of South Orange hereby terminates the lease and demands that the JAC quit and vacate the premises on or before 4 p.m. Wednesday, July 9th, 2014. The letter reads. Strasser responded to the notice by requesting that the shelter's ongoing quarantine be lifted in light of an affidavit signed by Dr. Michael Sandiego, the JAC veterinarian on record, stating that all of the animals at the facility are healthy and disease-free. Deputy Administrator Adam Lerner, however, said that he received no such affidavits until after the eviction notice was served. He also said that there are still more issues that will need to be addressed in order for the shelter to reopen under its current management. We are still interested in helping the animals at the shelter and getting them adopted, Lerner said. It is the JAC that's still holding them back. It's a shame that these animals are ready to go are stuck in the shelter. And as we continue with the alternative press, Maryland Parking Study calls for Seton Hall to shuttle most students from main campus. A traffic and parking study in support of Seton Hall's university purchase of the former Maryland school did not evaluate the impact of increased demand for parking on the surrounding neighborhood. Elizabeth Dolan, a traffic engineer, testified at the Board of Adjustment meeting on Tuesday night that 101 parking spaces will be provided for students and up to 200 students will park on the main Seton Hall campus and take a shuttle to the Maryland site. She noted that street parking is not allowed on Scotland Road. Parking on Montrose and Vos Avenue is limited to 2 hours, and parking in Stewart Place is restricted until 11 a.m. What about the other streets? Board member Michael Palapiano asked. Dolan said she did not study parking along other neighborhood streets. We have all seen when there was a crunch, students used every available space they could find, Palapiano said. I'm curious about why you would not have looked at this. And as we continue with the alternative press, as a matter of fact, let's move on to maplewoodian.com to see what's going on over there with our good friend. First, Soup Osborne tweets goodbye and changes his Twitter. Outgoing Superintendent Brian Osborne is officially gone and have left his post at the end of Monday with his goodbye on Twitter and a new Twitter handle. Brian G. Osborne at New Rochelle Superintendent 45, grateful to serve in at South Orange Maplewood District K-12 and excited to join at New Rochelle ED, both vibrant districts that cherish diversity, equity, and excellence. So there you have it. The superintendent telling us his goodbye via Twitter. Coda thanks customers with drink special weeks. Coda Restaurant, the great Maplewood Village eatery that suffered a terrible tragedy in May with an internal collapse that killed one worker, has been reopened for several weeks and is given back this week. Through Friday, the great barbecue and American Fair spot is offering all-day happy hour for all patrons as a way to say thanks in the May 30th catastrophe. Guai Tai Chen, 51, died from injuries suffered in the collapse. Maplewood businesses raised funds to pay funeral expenses. Maple Village Alliance has reported that some $7,000 was raised for the funeral, along with $5,300 to help with other families' needs. Then there's $4,100 raised in special jars throughout Maplewood Village to help Coda staff cover expenses during the eatery's 2 weeks shutdown, which ended on July 12th. So there you have it. Latest news from the Village Green, South Orange, Maplewood, the Alternative Press, and maplewoodian.com. We're going to go for a short break, and when we come back, more news.
This is the South Orange Maplewood Online Radio Experience. We want to hear from you at 973-327-3626 or log on to showmore.org to let us know your opinion.
Want to learn piano for kids? Then I recommend Wendy Goldstein School of Piano. Wendy Goldstein has been offering piano lessons since 1993 and teaches piano in a very natural way. An alumni of Manhattan School of Music, Wendy creates customized lesson plans for each student and helps bring music alive. Wendy provides you a convenient location, the best value, and the most fun way to learn piano. All ages are welcome and the first lesson is always free. Have questions? Call Wendy at 201-207-5169.
Are you looking for a professional logo design for your website, brand, or business? Then we are the company you are looking for. We are professional graphic designers, and with our skills, we will design a perfect, high-quality logo for you. We work with standout concepts, nice contrasts, and color balance. Please let us know your text for use in logo, web address, color of logo that you want. We will design 3 variations of your logo for you to choose from for only $99.95, with 100% refund of your $99.95 if you're not satisfied. We provide fast delivery and professional design. We also design any size web banner ad for $35. Call us at 347-674-1680. That's 347-674-1680. An operator is standing by to take your call.
Do you want your kid to run faster with better running form and conditioning for his or her sport? Then Running Development Academy is the place for him or her. Our training packages fix their form and make them run faster. How about training to run a marathon or just run faster in your respective event? Maybe you just want to learn to run properly and lose weight in the process. Our trainers, a former 800 meters track Olympian and an 8 times world record holder in Masters Track and Field, will get you there. Don't delay. Sign up today at runningdevelopmentacademy.com or contact us at 973-868-1444. That's 973-868-1444 to learn more.
Want to take a cruise but don't have a U.S. visa? No problem. Cruise and Rail Travel are experts at cruises that do not require a U.S. visa. Visit www.cruiseandrail.net or call 868-631-8785. Find us on Facebook or drop us a tweet.
Go ahead and advertise on the South Orange Maplewood online radio experience. You can reach us at 347-674-1680. That's 347-674-1680. An operator is standing by to assist you. Coming soon, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The South Orange Maplewood online radio experience.
I feel so blessed, y'all. This track is incredible. S1, You can feel it. I'm a blessed man. Yes, man, I'm a blessed man. Right now, I'm a blessed man. Yes, man, I'm a blessed man. No question, I'm a blessed man. Yes, man, I'm a blessed man. You can feel it, you can feel it. So much joy. It's like a dream come true, like a sneak preview of the grand finale. I get a taste of heaven, it's like milk and honey. I was blessed with love before I had money. The things I love most, you can't take from me. I hold them close, the most high in my family. I might never get fortune and fame. I'm always gonna say I've been a fortunate man. And when they ask who I am, I will stand up and say I'm a blessed man. Yeah, yeah. And when they ask where I'm at, it don't matter, I'm with you, I'm a blessed man. Yeah, yeah. And when they ask why, I will point to the sky, I'm a blessed man. Yeah, yeah. Yes, man, I'm a blessed man. Yeah, yes, man, I'm a blessed man. We walk through the park holding hands, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm a blessed man. You're so beautiful, the words escape me, like the day I watched you give birth to our baby. You illuminate when I'm in a dark place. Bless my heart with a smile on your face. I'ma say it, my wife is hot, so it don't matter how much ice I got. I put a ring on her finger, leave it at that. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be where I'm at. If it wasn't for God, maybe we never would've met. But he brought us together, so there's no question we're blessed. I don't write many love songs, I'm sorry girl. The truth is I never hear beats worthy of it. But when the glove fits, I let the world know I'm married to an angel and plan to stay faithful. And when they ask who I am, I will stand up and say I'm a blessed man. Yeah, yeah. And when they ask where I'm at, it don't matter, I'm with you, I'm a blessed man. Yeah, yeah. And when they ask why, I will point to the sky, I'm a blessed man. Yeah, yeah. Yes, man, I'm a blessed man. Yeah, yes, man, I'm a blessed man. As I back reflecting. It's obvious that my life's been protected. I had friends get murdered, I could have been there. Friends committed suicide, I could have went there. Depression, my life could have ended. I could have took a flight on September 11. Life is fragile, we take it for granted. I'm thankful for the life I was handed. Christ stretched out his arms on the cross, offered me freedom at a tremendous cost. I can't accept the gift without repentance. I talk to God with expectancy. He said, ask for anything in the name of my son. If it's my will, then it will be done. I'm not praying for material possessions. Being close to God is the greatest blessing. And when they ask who I am, I will stand up and say I'm a blessed man. Yeah, yeah. And when they ask where I'm at, it don't matter, I'm with you, I'm a blessed man. Yeah, yeah. And when they ask why, I will point to the sky, I'm a blessed man. Yeah, yeah, yes man, I'm a blessed man. Yeah, yes man, I'm a blessed man. And when they ask who I am, I will stand up and say I'm a blessed man. Yeah, yeah. And when they ask where I'm at, it don't matter, I'm with you, I'm a blessed man. Yeah, yeah. And when they ask why, I will point to the sky, I'm a blessed man. Yeah, yeah, yes man, I'm a blessed man. Yeah, yes man, I'm a blessed man. I don't got rims on the car, you know. I don't got a lot of jewelry, you know, but I'm blessed with life. I'm blessed knowing God. I'm blessed with family. Yes, man, I'm a blessed man.
We are back with you. It's in the Village with Anselm on the South Orange Maple Online Radio Experience. Coming to you every Monday through Friday from 8 to 9:30 p.m. That's Monday through Friday from 8 to 9:30 p.m. You can reach us here at 973-327-3626. That's 973-327-3626. You can like us on Facebook at facebook.com/SoulMore Radio. That's facebook.com/SoulMore Radio. You can tweet us at SoulMore Radio. That's at SoulMore Radio. You can also send us your email at soulmore.org@gmail.com. That's soulmore.org@gmail.com. You can also call our offices at 347-674-1680. That's 347-674-1680. And of course, you hear the song I'm Blessed. It's called Blessed Man by Braille, because I truly believe, ladies and gentlemen, from where I come from to where I am now, it's only with the blessings of the good Lord. So I must say, I always play that song so I can count my blessings daily. Let's go over to the township of South Orange Village. There are some employment opportunities in the township of South Orange. I should say the South Orange Village. Clerk, typist, building department. The township of South Orange Village is seeking a responsible, dependable, organized individual with strong customer service and computer skills for a part-time 24 hours per week clerk typist position in the building and health departments. The applicant should have the ability to multitask and work well with the public. Prior municipal government experience preferred. Experience with Mitchell Humphrey construction software is a plus. You can contact HR at southorange.org no later than Friday, July the 11th. That's HR at southorange.org. The police department is also looking for crossing guards. The police department is currently looking to hire individuals for the position of crossing guard in a full capacity, with the possibility of being hired on a permanent basis. Individuals must be 18 years of age and be in good health, with good vision and hearing, and attend a short training and safety course prior to their start. Starting pay is $16.52 an hour, with posts in the morning, midday, and afternoon, and of varying lengths. Interested individuals should complete an application on the South Orange website. You can return it to PORADDI at Police Headquarters, located at 201 South Orange Avenue in South Orange. So there you have it, some openings in South Orange for employment opportunities. Don't forget Paper Shredding Days, the South Orange Village Paper Shredding Days, will take place on Saturday, July the 19th and Saturday, October the 18th between 8 a.m. and noon. It will be held at Public Works Yard located at 300 Walton Avenue. The shredding vendor will provide a certificate of destruction to verify shredding beyond recognition. Free summer concert every weekend. The Downtown After Sundown concert series takes place every Friday and Saturday evening all summer long while you're in the Village Center dining, shopping, or going to the theater. Don't forget to join on Sloane Street adjacent to South Orange Avenue and at Spiotas Park for the best in jazz, blues, pop, rock, folk, R&B, and swing music. Concerts take place every Friday and Saturday evening from 7:30 to 10 p.m. through Labor Day. For more information, you can visit sovillagecenter.org. That's sovillagecenter.org. Summer reading program at the South Orange Public Library. Join the summer reading program at the South Orange Public Library. Sign up has begun and lasts all summer long. They will kick off the summer reading with events for the whole family to enjoy last Monday, June the 30th, which started at 9 a.m. Also, teens can sign up to volunteer. Applications are available now. The Friends of the South Orange Public Library have sponsored Monday Night Family Fun, where all programs begin at 7 p.m. beginning July 7th. Other programs include film screening and an author talk by New Jersey author Audrey Vonick on July 10th at 1 p.m. You can check the Gaslight for schedule information, visit the library website, or stop in to learn about more programs. You can also call the library at 973-762-0230, 973-762-0230. And don't forget Farmers Market every Wednesday. So if you missed this Wednesday, the South Orange Farmers Market is back for 2014. You can still find all the great fruits and vegetables that they had in the past from some of New Jersey's top farmers. But this year, they have added some great new vendors. Now you can also shop for nuts, vegan treats, gluten-free food, and even New Jersey wine. You can find the Farmers Market at Parking Lot 9 at Sloane and First Street every Wednesday from 2 to 7 p.m. And as we continue with, let's go over to the South Orange Maplewood School District. South Orange Maplewood School District thanks Maplewood Middle School Principal Jeffrey Trupel for distinguished service. Jeffrey Trupel, Principal of Maplewood Middle School, announced that he has been appointed as the Director of Elementary and Secondary Education for Passaic Public School. Mr. Trupel has served as an instructional leader at Maplewood Middle School for 5 years. In sharing his announcement with Maplewood Middle School family, Mr. Trupel said, since joining the Maplewood Middle School faculty in January of 2009, I have been privileged to learn alongside our community and engage in discussions about what constitutes an excellent middle school experience. As I prepare for another position in a different school district, I continue to believe that Maplewood Middle School is one of the most thoughtful communities an educator will ever encounter. I believe that students leave Maplewood Middle School in the 8th grade not just prepared academically, but aware that their middle school experience was created by their community, and they are better for it. Let's go over to the Maplewood Township to see what's going on. Don't forget, coming up on July 4th, the annual 4th of July celebration from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. Schedule of events for July 4th includes the 4th of July 5K run, which starts and finishes on Donald Road near Civic House. 8 a.m. opening ceremonies at Riccarton Square. At 8:15 a.m., Kid Bikes Parade. 9 a.m., Kids Dashes and Relays. 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., CHS Robotics Clubs, where students display and demonstrate at Skate House. 10 a.m., Participatory Community Pixel. Box Art Project by John Kaufman. 11 a.m., Ice Cream Eating Contest. 11:30 a.m., Baking Contest. There is no entry to fireworks firing area after noon. At 12 noon to 3 p.m. is karaoke, as well as adult softball. There's also the Pet Award show at 12 noon, and 1 p.m. to 3:30 is the Family Circus. And then at 4 p.m. is live music and culminate at 9 p.m. with fireworks. So don't forget, on July the 4th, the annual 4th of July celebration. And if you're looking for an employment opportunity in Maplewood, they're looking for maintenance work in the Park Tree Division. This position closes on July 7th at 3:59 p.m. Maintenance worker, Parks and Shade Tree Division. Normal work schedule Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. So again, opportunities in Maplewood. Don't forget, coming up Monday, July 7th, the Township of Maplewood is preparing for its 20th season of sponsoring the Maplewood Farmers Market. The market will be held at the Indiana Street Municipal Parking Lot adjacent to Springfield Avenue. The hours of operations are from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. Opening market day will be June 9th, and the market season will conclude on October 27th. Depending on the weather and market attendance, it may extend until November the 10th. Join us for a great season filled with Jersey fresh fruits and vegetables, breads, pastries, and preserves, cheeses, prepared foods like steak, burgers, crab cakes, gluten-free meals for on-the-go and fresh veggie juices. Again, it's at Indiana Street Parking Lot at the intersection of Indiana Street and Springfield Avenue on July 7th from 2 to 7 p.m. And then we have coming up on Tuesday, July the 8th, Committee Bromley's office hours from 7 to 8 p.m. at the Hilton Branch Library located at 1688 Springfield Avenue. That's Committeeman's Bromley office hours from 7 to 8 p.m. on July 8th at 1688 Springfield Avenue. And there you have it. Time is approximately 8:31 p.m. We're going to go for a short break, and when we come back, sports.
Go ahead and advertise on the South Orange Maplewood online radio experience. You can reach us at 347-674-1680. That's 347-674-1680. An operator is standing by to assist you.
Want to take a cruise but don't have a U.S. visa? No problem. Cruise and Rail Travel are experts at cruises that do not require a U.S. visa. Visit www.cruiseandrail.net or call 868-631-8785. Find us on Facebook or drop us a tweet.
Do you want your kid to run faster with better running form and conditioning for his or her sport? Then Running Development Academy is the place for him or her. Our training packages fix their form and make them run faster. How about training to run a marathon or just run faster in your respective event? Maybe you just want to learn to run properly and lose weight in the process. Our trainers, a former 800 meters track Olympian and an 8-times world record holder in Masters Track and Field, will get you there. Don't delay. Sign up today at runningdevelopmentacademy.com or contact us at 973-868-1444. That's 973-868-1444 to learn more.
Are you looking for a professional logo design for your website, brand, or business? Then we are the company you are looking for. We are professional graphic designers, and with our skills, we will design a perfect, high-quality logo for you. We work with standout concepts, nice contrasts, and color balance. Please let us know your text for use in logo, web address, color of logo that you want. We will design 3 variations of your logo for you to choose from for only $99.95, with 100% refund of your $99.95 if you're not satisfied. We provide fast delivery and professional design. We also design any size web banner ad for $35. Call us at 347-674-1680. That's 347-674-1680. An operator is standing by to take your call.
Want to learn piano for kids? Then I recommend Wendy Goldstein School of Piano. Wendy Goldstein has been offering piano lessons since 1993 and teaches piano in a very natural way. An alumni of Manhattan School of Music, Wendy creates customized lesson plans for each student and helps bring music alive. Wendy provides you a convenient location, the best value, and the most fun way to learn piano. All ages are welcome, and the first lesson is always free. Have questions? Call Wendy Wendy at 201-207-5169.
Get into the discussion at 973-327-3626. This is the South Orange Maplewood Online Radio Experience. We want to hear your opinion. You can log on to showmore.org or give us a call at 973-327-3626. You are listening to In the Village with Anselm on South Orange Maplewood Online Radio Experience. You can reach us here at 973-327-3626 or log on to showmore.org. Do you want to advertise on the South Orange Maplewood Online Radio Experience? You can reach us at 347-674-1680. That's 347-674-1680. An operator is standing by to assist you.
That one day, this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
Segregated schools were and are inferior schools. We still haven't fixed them 50 years after Brown versus Board of Education. And the inferior education they provided, then and now, helps explain the pervasive achievement gap between today's black and white students.
I have a dream that one day, down in Alabama, with its vicious racists, with its governor having his lips dripping with the words of interposition and nullification, one day right there in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream for this.
When we take those tests, even when black and Latino students score at the top of the distribution, so even when black and Latino students do very well using the biased and absurd indicators that we use in this country, they're still 40% less likely to be put into an advanced placement class or an honors class in high school than white students who scored in the middle of the distribution. So you have average white students, according to this criteria, and of course the criteria is bogus, but understand it's the one we use. Using this criteria, white students who are merely average are still more likely to have advanced or accelerated classes once they get to high school. Now, what does that mean? It means that those students are going to get more prepared for the SAT, right? They're going to get more prepared for the ACT. They're going to take the test and they're going to do better. And we're going to act shocked when people of color do worse on a test that they were systemically excluded from preparing for, as if that is a surprise. I mean, black and Latino students of whatever socioeconomic status, 2.5 times more likely than whites to be put into remedial classes, where they're not going to receive the same instruction, they're not going to have the same coursework, they're not going to be challenged in the same way, right? And so we then act surprised when in 11th grade they take the SAT, the ACT, they don't do as well, and then our society says, well, now you're not capable of going on to college, or at least not that college, because you're not as smart as somebody else over here. The fact that the structure of the educational system guaranteed that you would not do as well, virtually assured it, is something we don't want to talk about. But that's the systemic issue.
We are back with you. It's In the Village with Anselm on the South Orange Maplewood Online Radio Experience. Coming to you every Monday through Friday from 8 to 9:30 p.m. That's Monday through Friday from 8 to 9:30 p.m. You can reach us here at 973-327-3626. That's 973-327-3626. And there is a flat flush warning in this area until 9:15 p.m. Avoid flood areas and check your local media. So flash flood warning for this area until 9:15 p.m. Avoid flood areas and check local media for more information. Let's go over to sports. Maplewood NJFA fencers thrive. The New Jersey Fencing Alliance, NJFA in Maplewood, ended the fencing season with many top-performing athletes once again winning numerous medals. These elite athletes have had an outstanding year with NJFA. its members have successfully competed in local, regional, and national tournaments. Congratulations in order for the following fencers who qualified and continue to train for the upcoming Summer Nationals, which are held in Columbus, Ohio this year, which lasts from June 22nd to July the 3rd. So several members of NJFA doing very well in fencing tournaments and going on to the national championships, which is currently being held and will end on July the 3rd, 2014. Cougars U13 baseball team rallies to seventh inning win to top Mountainside. The Mayport South Orange under-13 Cougars baseball team improved its summer record to 2-1 with a 7-4 comeback win against Mountainside on Friday, June the 26th. As the visiting team, the Cougars took a 1-0 lead in the first inning. Mountainside came back, pulling ahead 3-1 in the third. The Cougars tied it in their half of the fourth, only to have Mountainside pull ahead 4-3 in the bottom of the fourth. The score remained the same until the top of the seventh and final innings when the Cougars unleashed their bats. The Cougars needed 1 run to tie and possibly force extra innings. The seventh inning started with a bomb of a double by Jack O'Connor that sparked the team. 8 Cougars came to the plate in the seventh inning and 6 had hits. So there you have it. The Cougars U13 team doing excellent. Seton Hall finalizes 2014-2015 non-conference schedule. Most of Seton Hall's 2014-2015 non-conference schedule was known earlier this month following the addition of an impressive home-and-home series with Wichita State. Seton Hall released their schedule in full, confirming another season with longtime opponent St. Peter's and the welcoming back of Maine, who Seton Hall hosted during the 2012-2013 season. The schedule consists of just 6 home games, 3 neutral games, and 3 road games, all high majors, and contains 3 opponents, George Washington, Mount St. Mary, and Wichita State, from the 2013-2014 NCAA tournament. Eugene Teague signs contract with ALM Uvirex. Shortly after Patrick Uda was promoted to the Czech Republic A team, and Fuka Edwin set up a summer league stint with Oklahoma City after not being drafted, it was announced that Seton Hall center Gene Teague signed a contract with ALM Uvirex of LNB Pro B, France second-tier league. So another Seton Hall player signing a contract to play in the second division of France League, and hopefully he can come back and make it to the NBA. Seton Hall stays on team's USA guard Isaiah Briscoe preliminary list. As planned, 2015 guard Isaiah Briscoe of Roselle Catholic officially trimmed his list of school after competing in the FIBA Americas tournament in Colorado Springs, Colorado earlier this week. Isaiah averaged 8.2 points per game, 5.4 rebounds per game, and 4 assists per game over 5 games as Tennessee USA's U18 team went 5-0 and won the gold. Prior to playing at the FIBA Americas, Briscoe was averaging 18.2 points per game, 6.9 rebounds per game, and 5.4 assists per game over 15 games for the New Jersey players of the Nike EYBL circuit. And there you have it. And finally, Patrick Uda promoted to Czech Republic A team ahead of Eurobasket. Many of you may know of Patrick Uda. He's one of those outstanding players on Seton Hall basketball team. It look like they're going to be very good coming back this year. And he was promoted to the Czech Republic A team after playing on the B team. A native of Brno, Czech Republic, Seton Hall power forward Patrick Uda was invited to play with Czech national team this spring as this country looks to qualify for next summer FIBA Eurobasketball 2015 tournament. After briefly practicing with the national team last week, Uda played with the Czech B team in 2 friendlies against Slovakia, scoring 12 points and impressing a reporter in the process, and then 23 points the next day. Uda registered one of his scoring outbursts that Feet-North fans are familiar with by pouring in 14 of the Czech Republic 20 points in the first quarter en route to a 83-69 win. And there you have it. Patrick Uda being promoted to the A team for the Czech Republic. And most of us know him as one of those outstanding players with Seton University. We're going to go for a short break, and when we come back, does race matter? We'll be right back.
Do you want your kid to run faster with better running form and conditioning for his or her sport? Then Running Development Academy is the place for him or her. Our training packages fix their form and make them run faster. How about training to run a marathon or just run faster in your respective event? Maybe you just want to learn to run properly and lose weight in the process. Our trainers, a former 800 meters track Olympian and an 8 times world record holder in Masters Track and Field, will get you there. Don't delay. Sign up today at runningdevelopmentacademy.com or contact us at 973-868-1444. That's 973-868-1444 to learn more.
Want to learn piano for kids? Then I recommend Wendy Goldstein School of Piano. Wendy Goldstein has been offering piano lessons since 1993 and teaches piano in a very natural way. An alumni of Manhattan School of Music, Wendy creates customized lesson plans for each student and helps bring music alive. Wendy provides you a convenient location, the best value, and the most fun way to learn piano. All ages are welcome, and the first lesson is always free. Have questions? Call Wendy at 201-207-5169.
Want to take a cruise but don't have a U.S. visa? No problem. Cruise and Rail Traveler, experts at cruises that do not require a U.S. visa. Visit www.cruiseandrail.net or call 868-631-8785. Find us on Facebook or drop us a tweet.
Are you looking for a professional logo design for your website, brand, or business? Then we are the company you are looking for. We are professional graphic designers, and with our skills, we will design a perfect, high-quality logo for you. We work with standout concepts, nice contrasts, and color balance. Please let us know your text for use in logo, web address, color of logo that you want. We will design 3 variations of your logo for you to choose from for only $99.95, with 100% refund of your $99.95 if you're not satisfied. We provide fast delivery and professional design. We also design any size web banner ad for $35. Call us at 347-674-1680. That's 347-674-1680. An operator is standing by to take your call.
For community news, sports, and opinions, call us at 973-327-3626 or log on to SoMore.org. You're listening to the South Orange Maplewood Online Radio Experience. You are listening to In the Village with Anselm on South Orange Maplewood Online Radio Experience. You can reach us here at 973-327-3626 or log on to SoMore.org. Coming soon, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, the South Orange Maplewood Online Radio Experience.
Maybe the hardest part is if you teach, you have to live your teaching. You can't say, you do not as I do, but do as I say. No. You have to say, I'm doing my best to live what I teach. I have a painting by Phoebe of a group that she calls Sister Suki's Funeral. And all the women, there are about 9 women, and they all look like women in my grandmother's prayer meeting group. So whenever I'm obliged to do something, I take that painting and I look at that painting. There's an empty chair. And I think, now, what would Grandma do? What would she say? I can almost hear her voice say, now, sister, you know what's right. Just do right. You don't really have to ask anybody. The truth is, right may not be expedient. It may not be profitable, but it will satisfy your soul. It brings you the kind of protection that bodyguards can't give you. Try to be all you can be, to be the best human being you can be. Try to be that in your church, in your temple. Try to be that in your classroom. Do it because it is right to do. You see, people will know you, and they will add their prayers to your life. They'll wish you well. I think if your name is mentioned and people say, oh, hell, oh, damn, I think you're doing something wrong. But if your name is mentioned and people say, oh, she's so sweet, he's so nice, oh, I love, oh, God bless her. There you are. So try to live your life in a way that you will not regret years of useless virtue and inertia and timidity. Take up the battle. Take it up. It's yours. This is your life. This is your world. I'll be leaving it long before you under the ordinary set of circumstances. You make your own choices. You can decide life isn't worth living. And that would be the worst thing you can do. How do you know? So far. Try it. See. So pick it up. Pick up the battle and make it a better world. Just where you are. Yes. And it can be better, and it must be better, but it is up to us.
Coming soon, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, the South Orange Maplewood Online Radio Experience.
Now, we are back with you. It's in the Village With Anselm on the South Orange Maplewood Online Radio Experience. Coming to you every Monday, Wednesday, every Monday through Friday from 8 to 9:30 p.m. That's 8 to 9:30 p.m. Now, I told you ladies at the top of the program that we wanted to listen to a gentleman called Tim Wise as he talk about does race matters. And we think you should listen to what Tim Wise has to say. You know, does race really matter? Let's go to Tim Wise and hear what Tim Wise has to say. Take a listen. Here we go.
Yes, but I want to fill in the contours of sort of how we should process the question anyway, even though I've given you what I think to be the answer, right, and what I'm convinced is the answer. When you have a question like that in front of you, this sort of open-ended thing, does race still matter? You have to ask yourself, how do you find the answer to that question? How do we know the answer to that question? Now, on the one hand, it's obvious, right? You look at the objective evidence of whether or not race still matters in our country. And I will talk a little bit about that evidence in a second, which I think objectively suggests that the answer is yes. But you see, sometimes simple objectivity isn't enough, because if it were, this would never have been a controversial topic in our country. The objective evidence that race matters and that racism is a real social phenomena has always been with us, and yet even when it has been at its most obvious, there have been millions of people, especially those of us in the dominant racial group in this society, those of us in this country and this culture called white, who have not seen it. Even when it was blatant, even when in retrospect everyone would say it was there, back in the day they still didn't see it. So historically, objective fact has never been enough to convince people whose racial identity put them at the top of the ladder that the problem was real. How can I say that? It's simple. All I have to do is look at the polling data of white Americans in those days. You see, it's one thing to stand before you, or to do as I will this evening in front of the students and whoever comes, and tell them that racism is still a problem in 2010. It's one thing to say that. I can understand, not agree with, but I can understand someone who disagrees with that position. I can understand it. I can get my head around it, because we can say that there's been just enough objective progress over a 50-year period, let's say, that it would make sense maybe for a young person in particular, a student just out of high school or undergraduate in college, to look and say, well, my goodness, comparatively, obviously we've made so much progress, it really isn't a problem. I would disagree with that conclusion, but I can at least rationalize it. But see, it's a very different thing to say that about the early 1960s. In fact, no one would say it. I think we all know that if I were to ask any white person in America, pretty much, who had even an ounce of rationality, which is the case for most of us, white, black, or otherwise, whether or not the society was equal in the early 1960s, let's say 1963 or 1962, that now in 2010, every white person would say, well, of course not. Of course not. Even those who object mightily to my presence here on the campus, or say they don't, but they aren't real happy that I'm here, would agree that in the early 1960s, this was a profoundly unequal place. There is no really alternative argument to that. There is no other side to that. That was before the Civil Rights Act, before the Voting Rights Act, before the Fair Housing Act. We were still an apartheid state in the early 1960s. We may not use that language, but that's honest. That's truth. We were a formal system of white supremacy at that time. We don't use that language, but that's truth. And it's pretty hard to deny if we want to maintain any sort of historical or intellectual honesty. And yet what's interesting is not to ask someone in 2010 about those days, because that's easy. If I ask you in 2010 whether things were equal in 62, you say no. It's easy. It's no sweat off your back. It doesn't take any courage to acknowledge that. What's interesting is to look at what otherwise rational white people said in 1962 or in 1963, when the past wasn't the past, when the past was the present, right? Because if even rational people, which I think most folks are, regardless of their race, I think most people are rational, I think most people are decent. I think most people are compassionate and kind and capable of discerning truth from fiction. I could be wrong in this, but I have 2 small children, so I have a vested interest in believing that that is true. And if you have evidence that I'm wrong, please keep it to yourself. I would rather not know that my view of human nature is inaccurate. So I am starting with the assumption most white folks, whether in 2010 or in 1962, are capable of knowing truth, and yet when you look at the Gallup polls taken in those years, not now asking about those years, but in those years themselves, what do you find? You find that in 1963, when white folks were asked by the Gallup organization, do you believe that blacks have equal opportunity in your community in regard to jobs, in regard to schooling, in regard to housing, 2 out of 3 white folks even then, a little more than that, about 68%, so almost 7 out of 10 said yes. 7 out of 10 white folks in 63 said yes, they have fully equal opportunity with white people in our communities. This is delusional. And yet that is where the vast majority of white Americans, even in 63, let's remember what 1963 was when it comes to race in this country. It's the year Medgar Evers is shot to death in his driveway. It's the year that George Wallace stands in the schoolhouse door at the University of Alabama and announces segregation now, segregation tomorrow, segregation forever. It's the year that Bull Connor turns dogs and hoses on black protesters and their white allies in the streets of Birmingham. It is the year of the March on Washington. So what's interesting, right, at the height of the civil rights struggle, in an intense era of racial terror against people of color in this country, almost 7 out of 10 white folks basically didn't see that there was a problem. So when the March on Washington happens, August 28th, 1963, Dr. King gives the I Have a Dream speech. Walter Cronkite comes on the news that night, shows a clip of the I Have a Dream speech, maybe the first time people have seen it because it's a news event. It's not a retrospective that we drag out every January. Right? It's daily news, and here's the clip, and here's Dr. King. I have a dream, and 7 out of 10 white folks, by our own admission, are looking at the screen going, I don't get it. I don't understand what the problem is. Why are all these black people so angry? Why are they marching? Dream? What dream? Why are you dreaming? Isn't everything okay? Honey, everything's okay, right? I mean, these people have lost their mind. Right? That's in effect what 7 out of 10 white folks were processing. That's where 7 out of 10 white folks were, even though they were mostly decent people. Not bigots, even though they were mostly rational people. These are people who remembered to pay their monthly light bill, remembered to get the kids off to school, change the cat pan, walk the dog, wash their hands after going to the restroom, all that good stuff. These are rational human beings, but they could not discern what millions of their fellow countrymen and women could see right in front of them, and which in retrospect all of us can see. A year before, 1962, Gallup asked white folks, do you think black children have equal educational opportunity in your community? And 87% of whites said sure. Almost 9 out of 10 in 1962, y'all. This is really fascinating to me, because I wonder how otherwise decent and rational human beings, which I believe almost all of those in that survey to be, could look at the same set of social facts, the same social reality, and see something that is not only so different from what people of color saw, but so utterly wrong in every possible way. You see, it isn't even arguable that that was wrong, and yet that's what the vast majority, overwhelming majority of white America believed to be true. So objective fact isn't enough, you see. Because the dominant group, for reasons that we need to think about, has never been able to see the truth. Or maybe they're able to, but have chosen not to. It's not just in the 60s.
Go ahead and advertise on the South Orange Maplewood online radio experience. You can reach us at 347-674-1680. That's 347-674-1680. An operator is standing by to assist you.
Want to take a cruise but don't have a U.S. visa? No problem. Cruise and Rail Travel are experts at cruises that do not require a U.S. visa. Visit www.cruiseandrail.net or call 868-631-8785. Find us on Facebook or drop us a tweet.
Do you want your kid to run faster with better running form and conditioning for his or her sport? Then Running Development Academy is the place for him or her. Our training packages fix their form and make them run faster. How about training to run a marathon or just run faster in your respective event? Maybe you just want to learn to run properly and lose weight in the process. Our trainers, a former 800 meters track Olympian and an 8-times world record holder in Masters Track and Field, will get you there. Don't delay. Sign up today at runningdevelopmentacademy.com or contact us at 973-868-1444. That's 973-868-1444 to learn more.
Are you looking for a professional logo design for your website, brand, or business? Then we are the company you are looking for. We are professional graphic designers, and with our skills, we will design a perfect, high-quality logo for you. We work with standout concepts, nice contrasts, and color balance. Please let us know your text for use in logo, web address, color of logo that you want. We will design 3 variations of your logo for you to choose from for only $99.95, with 100% refund of your $99.95 if you're not satisfied. We provide fast delivery and professional design. We also design any size web banner ad for $35. Call us at 347-674-1680. That's 347-674-1680. An operator is standing by to take your call.
Want to learn piano for kids? Then I recommend Wendy Goldstein School of Piano. Wendy Goldstein has been offering piano lessons since 1993 and teaches piano in a very natural way. An alumni of Manhattan School of Music, Wendy creates customized lesson plans for each student and helps bring music alive. Wendy provides you a convenient location, the best value, and the most fun way to learn piano. All ages are welcome, and the first lesson is always free. Have questions? Call Wendy at 201-207-5169.
This is the South Orange Maplewood Online Radio Experience. We want to hear from you at 973-327-3626 or log on to SoMore.org to let us know your opinion. Coming soon, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, the South Orange Maplewood Online Radio Experience.
Someone who cares very much for you wants you to feel better. So I'm sending you some bear hugs. And some things to remember that don't need an envelope or postage because I'm sending them heart to heart. I'm sending you tons of hugs because hugs never weigh you down. They lift you up. I'm sending you an invitation to see yourself feeling better. I want you to see the best in you because that's the only picture I want to have of you. I'm sending you smiles over miles because smiles bring us closer and remind you that I'm never, never very far away. I'm sending you a promise that even when you're feeling lonely, you are not alone. A hug is the best way to embrace life, so I'm sending you a big bear hug. Now take a deep breath and feel better, because I feel better when you do.
Coming soon, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, the South Orange Maplewood Online Radio Experience.
We are back with you. It's in the Village with Anselm on the South Orange Maplewood Online Radio Experience. Coming to you every Monday through Friday from 8 to 9:30 p.m. That's 8 to 9:30 p.m. You can reach us here at 973-327-3626. That's 973-327-3626. Before we continue with Tim Wise, Does Race Matter? And we are asking you the question, does race still matter? We always give you the SoMore quote of the day. You send your quotes to SoMore.org at gmail.com, and we read the best quote right here in the Village with Anselm on the South Orange Maplewood Online Radio Experience. And what is the SoMore quote of the day? What you do every day matters more than what you do every once in a while. What you do every day matters more than what you do every once in a while. And read the book, The Power of Habit. So what you do every day matters more than what you do every once in a while. Read the book, The Power of Habit. So let's continue with Tim Wise, Does Race Still Matter Today? As we continue to listen to Tim Wise.
This is really fascinating to me, because I wonder how otherwise decent and rational human beings, which I believe almost all of those in that survey to be, could look at the same set of social facts, the same social reality, and see something that is not only so different from what people of color saw, but so utterly wrong in every possible way. You see, it isn't even arguable that that was wrong, and yet that's what the vast majority, overwhelming majority of white America believed to be true. So objective fact isn't enough, you see, because the dominant group, for reasons that we need to think about, has never been able to see the truth. Or maybe they're able to, but have chosen not to. It's not just in the 60s. You can go back to the 1890s. Read some of the newspapers, not only Southern newspapers, but perhaps especially Southern newspapers during the era of the 1880s, 1890s, early 1900s, when white supremacy was really being reestablished with a vengeance, right? After emancipation, long after that, long after those initial civil rights laws had been passed under Reconstruction. Now white supremacy reasserting itself, and you will see those papers, editors writing about how, well, we get along just fine with our Negroes down here if those Yankees would just leave us alone. They didn't ask any of the black folks in the community how they felt about that, but the white folks who printed the papers were convinced everything was fine in the 1890s. Once again, in retrospect, we look back and go, my goodness, how could they be so silly? And yet that's what they thought. They weren't just blowing smoke. They really believed that. Go back to the 1850s. Now we're talking about a period of enslavement. Now we're talking about a period where a bunch of land just got taken from Mexico, right? In a war that we lie about in middle school and high school and act like they started it. Not actually the way things went down. So we've just taken a bunch of land. We've been taking native land. We're still enslaving black folks. Samuel Cartwright, a well-respected physician of his period, right? Southern physician. Dr. Samuel Cartwright in the 1850s decides that not only is the oppression of African peoples not a problem, not only is racism, which word doesn't even exist yet, not a problem, but in fact, black folks who don't understand how good they have it under the system of enslavement are actually mentally ill. And so he concocts a medical diagnosis which finds its way not only into his own teachings, but into the the textbooks of medical schools during this period a term that he uses to name the mental illness that afflicts black folks who choose to run away, who don't understand how good they have it. He calls it drapetomania. I really don't know what the Latin root of this is. I don't know how he came up with this title, but drapetomania is what he says is the mental illness that explains why some black folks run away from their loving masters. And this is not just Dr. Samuel Cartwright's theory. This becomes a taught and respected medical theory, scientific theory, to explain why black folks just don't want to stay on the plantation. Which is why when emancipation came, right, a lot of southern plantation owners, go back and read some of the journals or the things that they said on the floor of their state legislatures under the Confederacy. It's fascinating to watch these men get up on the floor and say, my God, they're leaving the farms in droves. Why would they do this? We always thought they were family. Right? Why would they leave? We always thought they were our best friends. And no one seems to understand because, once again, the dominant group, not because they don't have the brain power to know truth, they do. Not because they aren't rational enough to know truth, they are. Not because they're even particularly indecent people. They might be very kind and loving people to, old folks, animals, and small children. But in this particular instance, you have these rational sort of possessors of all this wealth and power who cannot understand that the world that they see is not the world as it is lived and experienced by millions of their fellow countrymen and women. So when we are asking, does race still matter? The question then is, how would we know? And the answer is, we better check in with those who were the targets. Because it isn't sufficient to just assume that we know something. It isn't sufficient to just look at the objective evidence, because apparently the objective evidence doesn't matter to some people. It never has. And so we have to check in with those who were the targets, because if we're being honest, and a lot of times we're not, we would have to acknowledge that they are the ones in the best position to know. While those of us in a dominant group who are not the targets of a system of subordination have the privilege of obliviousness.
Well, that's Tim Wise. We are continuing tonight with a special from Tim Wise. Does race still matter? And we're asking you the question, ladies and gentlemen. Does race still matter?
While those of us
live in this community of
group
South Orange and Maplewood, and it's a very diverse community, and we always tout how diverse our community is, why we moved to South Orange and Maplewood. But the question is, does race still matter? Let's continue to listen to Tim Wise.
While those of us in a dominant group who are not the targets of a system of subordination have the privilege of obliviousness. In fact, when I speak of white privilege, that's really what I mean. Some people think I'm talking about money and wealth and power, and that can be part of it, and sometimes it is part of it, but that's not really what I mean. When I talk about white privilege, I'm talking about that psychological privilege of having no requirement to know anything about anyone else's reality. Right? The ability to go through life, and I don't have to know what people of color experience in this society, because if I don't know, please tell me, what penalty will I pay? Nothing. Because I'm not going to have to know that to get a job. That's not going to be on the test. Am I wrong? Is there any test I'm going to have to take? Professional licensing test. Test to become a professor. Test to get into college. Test to get into grad school, law school, med school. To have any job at all where I'm going to have to demonstrate a knowledge of the things that people of color believe are important because they are their personal experience? No, at no point am I going to have to demonstrate that. But if people of color don't know what the dominant group has deemed is important knowledge, I think you know what happens, and it's quite a bit different. Because indeed, what the dominant group says is important will have to be known by everyone, and especially by those who are in subordinated positions. They will especially have to prove their competence in what the dominant group thinks is important. So it's the privilege of being oblivious to other people's reality. It's why I can still, after 15 years of traveling this country, 15 Februaries, 15 Black History Months, where I've been on the road, still go to colleges and have students, otherwise capable, intelligent people who got pretty good test scores and got into really selective schools. A lot of schools that I couldn't have gotten into, frankly, based on my test scores, still ask me why we don't have White History Month, and ask it with a straight face. Only because they have the privilege of being oblivious to the fact that we have several White History Months. We just give them these tricky names like May and June and July and August and every other month. Because those are the months we study a lot of white folks. In fact, we study a lot of white folks in February. Little secret. Right? It's not really like black folks take over for those 28 short, cold days. Right? Still mostly white folks, right? So that's obliviousness. I don't have to know, and it's not just with race. Look, to make this real easy, let's just take the easiest analogy I can think of, the most obvious one, the one with which no one is going to argue, right? No one. I have no idea how I got into this room today. None. And it's not because I have a particularly bad short-term memory, right? It is the fact that I, being an able-bodied person, temporarily, because if we live long enough, that's all any of us probably are, right? Temporarily able-bodied. I didn't have to pay attention to whether there were steps or, is there a ramp to get in the room? Is the berth that I've got to get over here to my table large enough? That's something I don't have to think about as an able-bodied person, but someone with disabilities who faces discrimination, who faces marginalization, who faces assumptions about their ability, their capacity, who faces real obstacles on the basis of their identity as a person with a disability, would have to think about. And the fact that I don't think about it doesn't make me a bad person, right? It doesn't make me intentionally oppressive to the disabled. It doesn't mean that I woke up this morning and said, watch how I can go and injure disabled people by not thinking about their reality. It says nothing about me, right? But it says a lot about the social context in which I get to operate as an able-bodied person. And the same thing is true in any other identity realm. When you are a member of a dominant group, any dominant group, on the basis of any identity factor, and there are lots of them, not just race, right? You have the privilege of not knowing something that those in the other identity groups have to know. And that's really something we all ought to think about, because everyone in this room, I'm willing to guess, is a member of some dominant group, right? Very few of us are only members of dominant groups, and even fewer are only members of subordinate groups, right? So even folks of color in the room, if they're able-bodied, got to think about able-bodied privilege. If they're men, got to think about male privilege, right? Straight, got to think about straight privilege. Christians, got to think about Christian privilege in a mostly Christian society. Whenever you're a member of if you come from a family with money, got to think about what that means. Whenever you are a member of a dominant group, you have the luxury of not knowing some stuff. And if you want to do fairness and justice and equity, you need to think about the things that you don't have to think about. That's the point of having this conversation. So we cannot trust dominant group members all the time to tell us what's going on unless those people are willing to check in with the folks who are the targets, who usually have that inside knowledge. And of course, if you do that, you find folks of color, when it comes to race, overwhelmingly say that race is still an issue, that racism is still a problem, and not because they read about it in a sociology book, but because it's their lived experience. Because they can remember instances within the last 30 days, the majority of peoples of color when polled in this country. Now the good Now the good news is, and it's always been this way, and we need to make sure we understand this, folks of color who acknowledge the persistent truth of racism and discrimination do not say that as a result they have no chance in life. It's not as if people give up. It's not as if folks adopt, as some on the right would suggest, a permanent victim mentality and decide not to work hard any longer. No. In fact, it is as has always been the case. If you look at black and brown communities in our country, what did parents in those communities say a generation and 2 and 3 generations ago about race to their children? Inevitably, it was some version of, you're going to have to work twice as hard to get as far because of the social context. That did not cripple those individuals who were told that. It did not lead them to give up or to adopt a permanent victim mentality, this absurdist argument that gets made now and then for why we shouldn't talk about it because people will think they have no chance. If that were true, it would have been true 100 years ago, because black and brown parents didn't keep it from their kids then. It would have been true a generation ago and 2 generations ago, because black and brown parents certainly didn't keep it from their children. In fact, if anything, telling the truth was the best initiative that one could offer, because one would not get sort of slack about how hard things were going to be. Knowing that an obstacle is in your path is the best way to try to figure out a way to go around it. I have 2 little girls, and on the one hand, I can tell them as a parent, and they're white, but as girls and as women one day, they will no doubt face discrimination at the hands of those who still, in spite of all the evidence to the contrary, view them as less capable because they are women. I can tell them on the one hand, you can be anything you want to be, and that's fine, and all parents do that. That's what we do. for the most part. But if I don't also tell them about the very real obstacles that some will try to place in their path to derail that truth from becoming true, I wouldn't be a very good father. Because I would be setting them up in the face of hurdles that I did not prepare them for. And then when they hit those hurdles, if they hit them, and they likely will, they will be ill prepared to overcome them. So we talk about these things truthfully and honestly, and the good news is that when folks of color have this sense that the system isn't fair, they still say they believe that they can make it if they work hard. It hasn't taken away from that faith, but it means that folks are capable of having two truths in their head at one time. Right? On the one hand, that they always have to make their own maximum effort and take personal responsibility for their lives, and folks of color have been doing that for hundreds of years in this country, usually without any press coverage, usually without anyone talking about it, usually without anyone praising it. But on the other hand, that we also have an obligation to sweep away the institutional, systemic, and structural barriers that oftentimes, in spite of the best initiative on the part of the individual, can in fact derail that individual from obtaining all that they are capable of obtaining.
And as we continue with Tim Wise, we're giving you a full length of Tim Wise, ladies and gentlemen. Does race still matter? And Tim Wise, he says it really, really good, ladies and gentlemen. He does a great job of explaining all these situations. So I just said, tonight, we're going to bring you a special Tim Wise, Does Race Really Matter?
So in the end, we have to ask ourselves, who has the more accurate depiction of truth? Sadly, most white folks, according to the more recent surveys, do not believe that racial disparities even exist. Not just that discrimination exists, but even disparities themselves. Most white folks, when asked, say that black and brown folks, black and Latino folks in particular, have equal employment status, equal income status, equal educational status, equal rates of having health care. None of this is true. It isn't even close. Right? Black and Latino males and females with college degrees, in fact, are about twice as likely to be out of work as white folks with college degrees. Right? So it isn't just in general black and white. It's even when you take black and white folks or Latino and white folks with the same educational background. Everyone's being hit by this economic downturn, some a lot worse than others. Chinese American professionals who on average have a higher than average educational attainment in this country because of high-skilled immigration, folks who came to the country in the process of studying. So generally, Chinese American professionals are more likely to have a college degree than white professionals, and yet they only earn on average 56% of what white professionals restrictions in 65. That's right now. And most folks don't see in the white community that any of that is happening. The typical white family, just right in the midpoint, median, 11 times the net worth of the median, 8 times the net worth of the median for Latinos in terms of wealth and net worth. These are the evidences, and there are many more, a lot of which I'll speak about this evening in the more formal talk, to suggest that race still matters. And the evidence suggests that that's not coincidence. Didn't just happen. It is the result of a history of racial inequality and ongoing discrimination in every realm of American life, from the labor market to the educational market, the criminal justice system, housing, etc. And the question we ultimately just have to ask ourselves when faced with the one that we're faced with, does race still matter? My question in response is, what are the odds? Really honestly think about it. What are the odds that the people who have never once realized the problem for what it was, at any point in our history, have suddenly figured it out when they say that it's not a problem? We've been wrong in every other generation when we said it wasn't a problem, the majority of us. Wrong every single time without a single exception. But now we've figured it out. And we're the ones who have a more keen perception of social truth. And that people of color who've gotten it right every generation, never once were wrong when they said there was a problem, have suddenly lost their minds and can't interpret their own lived experience. See, I would suggest that the odds of that are pretty slim. And that if we're going to try to discern truth from fiction, we start with a recognition of who is more likely to know and who is less likely to know and why, and then we work backwards from there. And maybe if we start with that, we can get rid of this idea that objective truth is sufficient. Objective truth is important, but unless we understand why some folks ignore it, right, we'll never be able to have this productive conversation. So I hope that this will be the beginning of that, or the continuation of that here at ACU. I expect that it will be. I look forward to this evening, and I hope that we can take the next about 20 minutes and have some questions and conversation amongst ourselves. Thank you all so much for coming out today, and I hope to see you this evening.
There you go, Blazing Man. That's Tim Wise. Let's listen to the last audio
I think
for Tim Wise.
For faith-based communities generally, for Christian communities specifically, it is important, and there's a great book, which I'm sure some of you have read. I think it's fantastic, both for the historiography of it and also the contemporary importance of it, called Divided by Faith. It's an examination of the different ways that white and black evangelical Christians come to this issue of race and racism, how they understand it, how they see the history of it, and how they see undoing that history and moving forward. And what's really interesting in there is, and it shouldn't come as a shock at all, it's just a microcosm of what the larger divide is about. The larger divide, outside the realm of the religious communities, is that whites often see racism as a personal thing, personal failing, so we just need to deal with it interpersonally, and people of color see it as a systemic thing. At the evangelical Christian community, what Divided by Faith talks about is historically that has also been true. That white Christians have viewed racism as personal sin that requires some type of atonement on a personal level and some type of deliberate action to create fellowship, let's say across racial lines within the church, which is fine so far as that goes. Nothing wrong with that. But what black evangelicals, whose basic theological principles, whose basic eschatology, whose basic understanding of Scripture is the same, if not totally, certainly very similar, view it, despite scriptural similarities, view racism as not merely personal sin, view it as systemic and institutional evil that is in place for a particular reason, is maintained for a particular reason, so that it isn't enough to do the fellowship and to do the sort of interchurch stuff that sometimes happens. That's all good. That's a good start. You got to build relationship if you want to have sustainable action against something like racism. But in the long run, got to also take aim at those institutional structures. So the book talks about how that can happen, talks about why it sometimes doesn't happen. And I think beginning there, looking at how different Christian communities, often divided by color, not so much by faith, the sort of ironic title of the book, the faith is largely similar, but the division is really color-based, can have a conversation by understanding why the white evangelical community views racism in this particular way, why the black evangelical community views it this particular way, and then I think beyond that, beyond sort of sitting down and having that real honest conversation, I think it's also going to be important for us to be brutally honest about the troubling nature of the iconography, religious iconography, visual, physical iconography in the West, which has rendered God a white man, which has rendered Jesus a white man of essentially European derivation. If you look at the features that come from Warner Salmon's Head of Christ, the most prominent image of Christ that has been reproduced some 40 million times since it was first produced. It's found on not birthday cards, but Christmas cards. It's found on all kinds of imagery, Bible story, picture, children's books that have, Adam and Eve looking like they were, residing in the Garden of Sweden. These kinds of things. I mean, I think seriously, the humor maybe helps us come into it. We have to really have this honest conversation about how we can have images that suggest the first human beings are white, which is anthropologically, biologically, genetically nonsensical and has been disproven for like almost a century, right? Really since the beginnings of any real formal scientific knowledge, we've understood that is not likely the case. And the last half century, we know it's not the case, but we keep pumping it. Why? There's got to be a reason. We got to have that conversation because, and I'm not going to tell the story now because I don't have time. This evening I will tell a story about what I think the consequence of that iconography is, not only for children of color, but for white kids, because I've seen it in my own home. When children are subjected to this image of God the Father, of Jesus, of Adam and Eve, of all these biblical characters as if they came right out of their own family reunion, right? When it isn't logical, it isn't true, it isn't accurate, it does in fact inculcate a mentality of implicit superiority, of implicit connectedness to God that peoples of color then don't often assume to be the case for themselves, and it creates even greater division. We don't have to physically represent God if we don't want to. There are faiths that do not. We don't have to, we don't have to physically describe God at all. Muslims do not, Jews do not, many do not, but for whatever reason in the West, in Christianity, we have decided to have this imagery, which is sort of a strange inversion of the principle to not worship, false gods, or in this case, the notion that that man is made in the image of God. What we've done instead is we've made God in the image of man, and only some men at that. So that's a conversation. We're literally at the level of idolatry, and we need to really ask what that's about. That's a hard conversation, right? It's so hard that when I make that point at religiously affiliated colleges, and I'll just preempt this, and I say this in White Like Me, somebody always wants to remind me. They raise their hand, and if I do it tonight, someone will do it probably if I don't preempt it, and remind me that it really doesn't look like, for example, right? It only matters what Jesus did. And I'm cool with that. I get that. I understand that point. But if it doesn't matter what Jesus looked like, then why do we continue to insist on making him look like that? Because if it doesn't matter, we could make him black for a year. Just for 365 days, you could change him back, and if you really want to. But so it must matter to somebody, because we made him look like that, even though first century Jews in that part of the world that we now call the Middle East, because we don't want to acknowledge that topographically, anthropologically, climatologically, it's Northern Africa, didn't look like that. So we do it for a reason. And whatever reason might have existed at the time to spread the faith among European peoples, I understand the idea, this is how you're going to do it, you need to make European people feel connected to this Savior. Okay, that time is past. You don't have to do that anymore. You got millions and millions and millions of Christians who are now, embedded in their faith. You don't need to keep up the iconography unless there's another reason. And that's what concerns me. So we have to be willing to go there. And it's not just white and white Christians that don't want to go there. Look, black and brown Christians don't like you messing with their images of Jesus either. Don't mess with my Jesus now. I've got this image, and don't mess with it, because it's so embedded in our thinking. But we really have to ask ourselves, what is the impact of that? If Christians are focused on, as logic dictates and faith dictates they should be, on what Jesus did and why Jesus was here, then the imagery should be utterly irrelevant. And yet, when you start talking about, let's maybe not have an image, let's not have that, let's not send a Christmas card with the white baby Jesus in the manger, all of a sudden, oh, come on, what's the big deal? Someone. And so at some level, that conversation will have to be broached in honesty, with open hearts and open minds, about why that's been done and the damage that it continues to do. Thank you. Thank you all so much for being here.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's a special by Tim Wise, Does Race Still Matter? I just wanted to bring that to you tonight. I think it's very important. And, you can listen to what Tim Wise had to say. Some of the stuff you can, believe. Some of the stuff you don't believe. But I think he had a lot to add, and he just made us think. Just think. And I think that's always a good thing.
Coming soon, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The South Orange Maplewood Online Radio Experience.
We're going to go for a short break, and when we come back, we're going to wrap up.
This is the South Orange Maplewood Online Radio Experience. We want to hear from you at 973-327-3626 or log on to SoMore.org to let us know your opinion.
Want to learn piano for kids? Then I recommend Wendy Goldstein School of Piano. Wendy Goldstein has been offering piano lessons since 1993 and teaches piano in a very natural way. An alumni of Manhattan School of Music, Wendy creates customized lesson plans for each student and helps bring music alive. Wendy provides you a convenient location, the best value, and the most fun way to learn piano. All ages are welcome, and the first lesson is always free. Have questions? Call Wendy at 201-207-5169.
Are you looking for a professional logo design for your website, brand, or business? Then we are the company you are looking for. We are professional graphic designers, and with our skills, we will design a perfect, high-quality logo for you. We work with standout concepts, nice contrasts, and color balance. Please let us know your text for use in logo, web address, color of logo that you want. We will design 3 variations of your logo for you to choose from for only $99.95, with 100% refund of your $99.95 if you're not satisfied. We provide fast delivery and professional design. We also design any size web banner ad for $35. Call us at 347-674-1680. That's 347-674-1680. An operator is standing by to take your call.
Do you want your kid to run faster with better running form and conditioning for his or her sport? Then Running Development Academy is the place for him or her. Our training packages fix their form and make them run faster. How about training to run a marathon or just run faster in your respective event? Maybe you just want to learn to run properly and lose weight in the process. Our trainers, a former 800 meters track Olympian and an 8 times world record holder in Masters Track and Field, will get you there. Don't delay. Sign up today at runningdevelopmentacademy.com or contact us at 973-868-1444. That's 973-868-1444 to learn more.
Want to take a cruise but don't have a U.S. visa? No problem. Cruise and Rail Travel are experts at cruises that do not require a U.S. visa. Visit www.cruiseandrail.net or call 868-631-8785. Find us on Facebook or drop us a tweet.
Go ahead and advertise on the South Orange Maplewood online radio experience. You can reach us at 347-674-1680. That's 347-674-1680. An operator is standing by to assist you. Coming soon, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The South Orange Maplewood online radio experience.
We are back with you. It's in the Village With Anselm on the South Orange Maplewood online radio experience. Coming to you every Monday through Friday from 8 to 9:30 p.m. That's Monday through Friday from 8 to 9:30 p.m. You can reach us here at 973-327-3626. It's 973-327-3626. Time check. The time is approximately 9:35 p.m. From where I sit, this is it. The clock on the wall says that's all I like to say, but I've got to go. Remember, hard work beats talent when talent does not work hard. And for every 60 seconds of anger, you lose 1 minute of happiness. And I always give you this song before I go. See you. Same so more time, same so more channel. Later.
So we're giving thanks to the Most High for all of His blessings, His guidance. Oh Lord, how great Thou art Thee. Thank You for blessing me. Transpose all my energy, yeah, and molded talents in me. Those on my head, I appreciate your gratitude, endurance, and faith. They stand in line, want to intertwine, devour my body, soul, and mind. But my will is strong, they can't throw me down. With your guidance, I will carry on. Oh Lord, every day I'm going to sing this song. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Thank You, Lord, for what You've done for me. Yeah. Thank You, Lord, for every little thank You, Lord, for what You've done for me. And I thank You for blessing me every day. And through the river walls, I will walk with You beside me, beyond harm, 'cause You can find me, yeah. And when the kingdom falls, You'll console me from my distress. In Your warmth of grace I will rest, yeah. No resurrection can remove me from Your bubble. They will perish in their rubble, yeah. And if that false fear falls, oh Lord, I will be lifted up to You, the Lord, and sing it. Thank You, Lord, for what You've done for me. Thank You, Lord, for every little thing. Hey. Thank You, Lord, for what You've done for me. And I thank You for blessing me every day. And so I sing again. Thank You, Lord, for what You've done for me. Thank You, Lord, for every little you for blessing me every